And a major development with direct implications for Nigeria that is sparking reactions online, detailing how the U.S. Department of State designated a Lagos-based bureau de change operator, Mukhtar Adamu, alongside 3 of his exchange businesses in Lagos and Kano as terrorist financiers for allegedly serving as conduits for ISIS funding. The designations expose a network spanning France, Syria, Turkey, and Nigeria, with the U.S. declaring it is cutting off ISIS financial lifelines around the world. The U.S. also reaffirmed its strong partnership with Nigeria, citing the May 16 operation that killed Abu Bilal al-Muniki, ISIS's #2 official. I'll read some reactions on X. BBO wrote on X, "Well done to the U.S. Treasury and our Nigerian partners for this decisive strike. Sanctioning these bureau de change operators is a smart, targeted move that hits ISIS funding where it hurts them. More of this, please." Another X-user wrote, "This shows how deeply terrorist financing networks can operate even within commercial systems. Authorities should trace the financial links and dismantle the broader network rather than concentrating only on individuals." I mean, this is what we've been calling for. But for me, I think that it's strange that the U.S. should be announcing these terrorist financiers. And we're seeing, our security agents posting this sort of news online instead of, posting their own findings online. I mean, I do believe this is a major win in the fight against terrorism. The money trail has been found. Now, Nigeria must ask, how did it get this far? And who else is involved? And this is a business from Lagos and Kano. I don't know who needs to really speak on this quickly, and then we'll move to the next story.
Oji, like you said rightly, it's a shame on us that America is telling us what we ought to know. Yeah.
No, they should be announced. Nigerians should be announcing this.
But Oji, I'd like to ask you, when Dubai even gave us free information on some terrorist financier years ago, what did we do with it? So is it today that we are just knowing that there are terrorist financiers amongst us? Like I said before, as long as there's a high level of complicity in what is happening in the country, Nigeria will never move forward. And I just pray that we are not still talking about insecurity years to come. I think a former military chief said it will take us how many years? That's Brutai. Brutai was talking about how many years? Over 5, how many, or 10 years, or 20 years? Well, because we're already 20 years in now, right? Mohammed Yusuf was killed in 08, 09, right? We're already 20 years in. I just pray 20 years after we're not still talking about this. May God help us.
All right. The thing we should be insisting upon, it's not even about Nigeria announcing it. Whoever announces it is immaterial. Now they know that a Nigerian is involved, a Frenchman is involved, a Syrian is involved in this,
it's a huge network,
terrorism. Yes. Yeah. Okay, what we should hear is that they have been arrested and that their bureau de change supporting terrorism have been closed down. So what is the purpose of the announcement? As Rufai pointed out, the UAE once gave us a list of sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria. The Nigerian government had even said there are sponsors of terrorism in government. Other sources have said so. Why are those persons not arrested? If we want to be serious about the fight against terrorism, then since we know the people involved and we are collaborating with the United States to fight terrorism, those persons, entities as they are, should be identified and sanctioned and prosecuted, and Nigerians told that we are making progress in a real sense. So otherwise, the announcement of there are bureau de change, there are persons from France, Syria, and wherever, is of no effect.
It is, but we need more. We need more from our security forces. We need the list of those financiers. This is the beginning of the end, I hope. Well, we're going to take another reaction from Leke Leke, and this is reacting to the U.S. releasing terror financiers. And Ocholi wrote on Leke Leke. He wrote, "Terror groups like Boko Haram and ISWAP thrive on both illicit and seemingly legitimate cash flows. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit should be able to track, arrest, and persecute individuals implicated, but we all know why they cannot. Till they jump this hurdle and start actively fighting the main source of why terrorists thrive, we will continue to suffer. That's the voice of another concerned Nigerian on Lekeleke. Thank you for your comments. Now to a deeply alarming video, which has caused uproar online, showing a young woman, Chisom, just 18 years old, with severe injuries to her face, inflicted by her husband. In the video, concerned neighbors were seen desperately begging him to release her. Chisom was later seen at a hospital alongside human rights activist Harrison Gwaminishu, begging him not to arrest her husband, fearing it will only make things worse. Let's take a look.
You are mad!
I've heard you.
Your wife and your bastard!
Then leave my wife.
Look at your wife! Look at useless human being! Useless
You
human
drag my
being.
wife with me.
Yes!
Your
wife that you are about to kill.
Leave her for me.
Which wife that you are about to kill?
Then leave her
Let
for
us
me.
see your wife's face. But you can't even want to call. Let us see your wife's face. Leave her alone! Leave her alone! Leave her alone! Leave her! Who the hell are you? Leave her! Look at the person you are beating. Look at the man. You want to kill her. This girl is just 18 years. 18 years. This man is brainwashing her. Beating her daily. Yes.
We're arresting him.
She's scared of him. She's so scared of him. She's so scared of him. She's so afraid. It will not affect you. It will not affect you. It will be as if I'm the cause because the family don't like the cause. I'm going to be free. Leave him. Let me go. It's a lie. I'm not going to the marriage again. I swear to God, people should just leave me.
Listen now, calm down.
I said to God, I will not go. Don't arrest him. I will not go to the marriage again. Please.
Listen.
Young woman completely traumatized. Well, activist Gwaminishu later revealed the husband is now in police custody in Lagos. But the detail that has Nigerians outraged was that Chisom was allegedly taken from her family as a child without her father's knowledge, and her relationship with this man began when she was just 15 years old. This video has gone viral on social media. Dr. Abati.
Okay, I mean, many of our states, Lagos, this incident occurred in Lagos, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, we have laws against domestic violence. And it's important that, you know, those laws are enforced. However, the major problem we have with domestic violence is culture. In this particular video, the young lady is saying, oh, my mother-in-law doesn't like me. My mother-in-law will say I'm the cause of the problem. The third part is that no woman should subject herself to domestic violence. And that's why I like the idea that some women, there's one famous movie where faced with domestic violence, the woman started going for training in self-defense. And she ended up, killing the man, brutalizing the man. I'm not saying anybody should kill anybody, but, there's also something about self-defense. But the major problem that we have is culture. People will say, my mother-in-law will say I'm the problem. The woman will not have financial power and all of that. And then she will say she will stay there and be brutalized. Domestic violence of any type, whether man or woman or man, should not be the idea. Marriage should not be a prison. Although one philosopher had said that when you marry, you have entered a prison. Also, parents should also be objective enough. I have daughters. If you beat my daughter, you will have father-in-law problem.
Plenty.
People talk about mother-in-law problem. No. You touch any of my girls that have worked very hard to nurture, to train, and all that, and you turn her into a punching bag. No, you have father-in-law problem.
Yes.
And I'm quite a strong father-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell.
No,
We know that.
no. I'm quite a strong father-in-law. You can't beat my daughter.
Yeah, you can't.
You know,
I mean,
as I don't want a woman who will beat my sons.
These are lessons to be learned.
These are lessons.
Yes.
And I think that the Lagos State government that has been informed should look into this matter.
Yes.
Nobody should be brutalized in the name of marriage.
Nobody.
However, don't wait until you are killed. We have had cases in this country where women were killed, when husbands were killed. The family should stand up also and protect their words. No violence in marriage.
Quickly. I also want to look at the angle of Child Right Act.
Yes.
Because she was taken at the age of 15.
They said she was taken at the age of 15.
She's still covered under the Child Right Act. So if they are going to press charges, they should also press charges under the Child Right Act.
Yes.
Because she's a 15-year-old when she was taken.
Her family member should take it.
They must. I mean, because you can see, you can see that she is clearly traumatized there, begging that, her husband should not be taken away. This is really a sad story. And, thank you guys for adding your voice to this story. We told you we will bring you this story. I believe it was on Monday. This is, a viral video from right here in Lagos, which is generating fierce debate online. A Banana Island tenant and businesswoman running a beauty company known as Edith's Essential is calling out what she describes as a landlord from hell after her rent was reportedly hiked by over 390%, and her electricity was disconnected for 72 hours when she could not pay immediately. In the video, the woman reveals that she slipped and fell in the dark, injuring her shoulder and lower back after her lights were turned off and had to be rushed to a hospital. Let's take a look.
For my rent to be increased by over 300%, I'm going to add the exact figures, 390-something%. And for that reason, as a tenant, I asked for a staggered payment, which they offered, which they gave, and I actually complied. And because of that, the landlord now wants to evict me again so that he can bring in other people that are going to start paying 50 million. Or more, or so that he can increase it more than what he has already given me. He has already evicted 4 homes in this building. This is a building of only 6 tenants. They're sending me threatening messages, that the eviction still stands and I should move out. Even if you wanted that to happen, couldn't you have given me light? Would I have sustained injuries because of this wickedness? Now, instead of going to work this morning, I'm spending my day and I have to go for an x-ray.
Well, you know what? Nigerians are flooding her comment section with their own horror stories of arbitrary rent hikes. And this story lands in the context of a Lagos rental market already in crisis, with experts reporting that rents have surged by between 50 and 200% over the past 2 years alone. Banana Island is one of Nigeria's most exclusive addresses, but today it is also the face of a housing crisis. Now, what exactly does Lagos State's rent control law say about situations like this, and why isn't it protecting tenants? As a result, she has now launched the Fair Housing in Nigeria improvement to push for tenants' rights. And I'd like to read what the law says. And this is very important. Under Section 37 of the Lagos State Tenancy Law 2011, a landlord cannot unilaterally increase rent without first consulting the tenant and reaching an agreement. And any tenant who believes a rent hike is unreasonable has the right to apply to court for a declaration that the increase is invalid. So this Banana Island tenant has legal recourse. But here is the problem. The existing 2011 tenancy law has significant enforcement gaps, and cutting off a tenant's electricity is in itself an illegal act of harassment and intimidation under the law. The good news? A Lagos Tenancy and Recovery of Premises Bill presented in May 2026 is currently at the committee stage in the Lagos State House of Assembly, proposing limits on advance rent demands and giving tenants a clearer path to challenge unfair increases. I mean, this is, I had to read this out because a lot of people, don't know their rights and whether or not it is legal for, these landlords to increase their rents without adequate notice. I know you all want to say something because you all live in Lagos. Everybody probably has faced it, but for me, it's the light issue. Why turn off the light? That for me
resort to a lot of inhumane. I saw one other one where the landlady was even there threatening to throw, waste feces in front of the tenant's shop if she doesn't do as she bids. I'll leave the legal angle to Dr. Abati, but let me come from a point of the fact that we have a lot of laws in Nigeria and also in Lagos states that people just don't enforce. Do you know how many times, this whole don't collect more than 1 year rent? Somebody still asked for 2 years rent recently, for one of my friends who was looking for accommodation here in Lagos State. So the fact is that we come out with these great laws, but they are not enforceable or they are not enforced and people ignore. You come and tell a landlord that don't increase your rent because Lagos, they'll tell you to get out of their face, But we've seen a lot of this and there are a lot of reasons for this. Number one, we talk about the devaluation of the naira, the cost of living crisis, but I asked the question that some of these landlords are greedy because many of them built their houses donkey years ago and have not done a single upgrade or improvement to the house. So what happens is that if you refuse to pay the rent, they tell you that, okay, they don't want to let the house anymore. They want to do upgrade or they want to demolish for alternative business purposes, which is a lie. They just want you out of the house.
Yes.
I don't know how the Lagos state government is going to fix this. But one way they can fix is actually to provide a cheaper alternative. We've talked about mass housing projects. Where is that? Where are we with that? If you don't provide an affordable housing alternative, then you leave the field for landlords who have put in fairness to them, their private investments and can choose to do whatever they want to do because the people are not protected.
All right.
So how can you ensure that the state government will enforce the law when they also violate the tenement rate law of who to collect? There's a constitutional, imbroglio there where the local governments are supposed to be the ones to collect tenement rate law, but it's the state government that is collecting. So how do you expect them that are also breaking the law, but they will say it's not intentional, it's because of the way it's structured? How would you expect them to be able to, seek redress on the law? So it's a country of lawbreakers. Everybody's breaking the law. But that's very bad. But we don't know what has transpired because it's one side we've heard. We've not heard the landlord side. So we need to be careful. Okay,
Lagos State, there is the Lagos Tenancy Law, I think 2011. Then it was revised in 2015. There was also a further amendment in 2024, which is the extant law, to protect the interests of tenants. But you see, tenancy, landlord-tenant relationship is a willing buyer, willing seller market. In this particular woman's issue, the landlord is saying, leave my house.
Yes.
I don't want you in my house anymore.
Yes.
So, can you impose a tenant on a landlord? So, the tenancy law is likely to be a dead law. There are dead laws because the true test of a law is in its implementation. She can go to the media, she can mobilize people. At the end of the day, if the landlord says, I don't want you in my house, you will have to leave his house.
This is it. I mean, that's the question.
It's a landlord's market. So, but what I don't agree to is the violent part of it.
Right. The turning off the lights and
the woman
falling down. Yes.
No, this landlord that has turned off the light. Some landlords will come and remove the roof.
Come on.
Some will stop water supply.
Yes. Those are the questions.
It's a very delicate thing, in terms of enforcement and implementation of the law.
All right. I thought
but must she live in Banana Island?
There are so many other places that she had some comments.
Must she live in
She said something about her mom. She said something about her child. But you're right. She doesn't have to live in Banana Island. She can find, there's Ketu, there's Mushi. But unfortunately, Mushi, there's IED bombing. Look, she can't go to Mushi. She can't get to Ketu, Lekki. But those are the questions. So like we've said. All right, it is. But like we've said, we've just heard her side of the story. We're hoping to hear from the other side of the story if we hear it. But of course, there are lessons. There are lessons to be learned. Yes.
That's beside the point.
Besides the point. That's what she said. And he's an MD of a bank. All right. Well, all right. Good information out there. I hope we get to to hear the end of this story.